Now, before we begin, this is probably the best way to open it. I saw this on Twitter, and it was really nice, relaxing, very Christmassy. Not this too. Merry Hexmas. So all the Hexicans out there, regardless of your current, I was gonna make a song, all through the house, something, not even a mouse, while the other Hexicans shield tight necks, etc., etc., etc. I'll play this instead, though. This is probably the best thing. I'll just see if I can find my comments because it's kind of nice, relaxing. I had to check my own title as well because I need to make some New Year's resolutions. One of them will be to drop in at least one, or maybe on each chain, 15555 on each chain. Now, for some reason there seems to be a lot more viewers on let's have a look. Just some stuff going on X. I can't even see half the time where this thing's streaming to. Let's see if I can find it. Alright, there we go. Nice. Now, that's nice, Now, before I begin, it's just basically a Christmas stream. Say Merry Christmas to all the Hexicans out there. Whether or not you're talking about other tokens now or whatever, eventually, I think, the price may appreciate just a little bit, maybe on Pulse, maybe on Pulse X, maybe on some meme coins, I'm not sure. And then people may continue to still use Hex, because I'll play a video from way back and it's still relevant today, I think. But before I begin, I'll play this one through.
Walk away from 1. Walk away from conversations that involve hate and gossip. 2. Walk away from unnecessary drama. 3. Walk away from people who put you down. 4. Walk away from table if respect is no longer being served. 4 things to always walk away from.
Play it one more time.
1. Walk away from conversations that involve hate and gossip. 2. Walk away from unnecessary drama. 3. Walk
Yeah, that's
away
right.
from people who put you down. 4. Walk away from table if respect is no.
I think the rewards will keep getting better over time. It's hard to say, but basically I think they will. Now this was kind of funny. We've got I have no affiliation to any political party, and anything in reference to, all in an unofficial manner. And this here though is kind of funny because I don't know if you guys remember, like, it used to be disgusting. You see like a bug in your food. There's a fly in my soup. It's like, I know. This is what they're trying to do. So I'm heavily I support, the eating of meat. Now, though, vegans may disagree with that. However, that's my particular stance on food. Now, moving on from that topic, I'm sure that's relevant. This one here. So this is the good one. You guys probably have already seen this like a million times. It is here. It was like a good find on X. The early Hexicans like that think they were early but only staked short and had been selling Hex. Maybe, or emergency end staking, pushing them out further. Believe there are no more games to be had. They never knew what Hex was. They had 2 Hex per day t-shirt payouts. Some day we'll hit 20 Hex payouts. If all stays as it is, we hit 60. Now, we'll play this one through again because I'm pretty sure everyone's heard this. Well, and if you haven't and you're new to Hex, maybe, just maybe, you need to hear this because it might seem as if, if you look at the price chart with log on, that it's the end of the world for, Hex on either chain. But if you go back to the basics of T-shares, this will help, I think.
Richard was very clear from sort of throughout that this needs to be a process that gives everyone a chance to capture value so that there's not this first to hear about it effect, where then you kind of have runaway gains over everybody else. But Richard was very clear from sort of throughout that this needs to be a process that gives everyone a chance to capture value, so that there's not this first to hear about it effect, where then you kind of have runaway gains over everybody else.
So that's an interesting, comment, forecast almost, because as we've seen over time, the T-shares keep increasing, and that brings me to this here. Not so much this here. This one probably feeds off this one, and then I had my tabs all laid out in the order I was going to cover it. I was like, I'm just going to stop it. I'll just go live and just do it on the fly. This one here. Now this one here, because it was the creator of Hedron put this out on X a while ago, and I'd forgotten about this website, apphex.win, pulse chain chart. As we can see, total active wallets. It's not me creating, multiple wallets. This is actual real users. This daily active wallets. I mean, take from that what you will. There appears to be a lot of action on there, so you could say, maybe it is because of the meme coin action. On the other end of the spectrum, we could say, it's because of people dumping Hex possibly, or dumping Pulse Chain itself. Who knows? Could be bridge activity. Could be DEXs. Could be a myriad of things. Could be other DeFi. Ones I can think of are the probably loan stuff and the Power City stuff. So who knows? And other DEXs as well. But we also have here daily transactions. It's not bad. Not bad. It's definitely not a ghost chain. However, I haven't got any data to compare it to, so it would be good to see, as Ethereum rolled out their multi-chain ability to track everything, excluding Pulse Chain. It would be good to see the volume with these figures put up against something like Ethereum, maybe other chains. Some chains I've never even heard of. Die from Ethereum, interesting. And we've got the senders, receivers, and we've also got, if you click over here onto the where is it? Yeah, the price. Alright, cool. You sure what that is? How is that preloaded? Interesting. Huh. No idea what that was. And we've got total P shares. Don't know what I've done. I think I've broken it live on stream. Oh my god, that sucked. Hang on. That can't be right. Refresh apphex.win. I'll let this play. There's an interlude.
Let your heart be light. Next year all your troubles out of sight. So have yourself a merry little
strange. Alright, doesn't seem to matter, but we're back over here, dump it in. Whatever reason, it had a random wallet loaded, and it displays some data, so okay, cool. I guess that's the good figure to look at. 9.78 staked, 9.31 staked. It's interesting. Ethereum seems to be dropping just a little bit. The Uniswap pools are a lot thinner. I think there's some. I still haven't looked on chain, but there was that other BankHex thing, and apparently you could be getting dumped on if you're sort of purchasing more hex over there. However, if you're staking it, pushing it out, maybe a 5555 may have lesser of an effect, because you would imagine over 12 years, maybe they've exited the system. Whatever it is they are doing over there. Now, the next one is we played that. I'll play this because I think this is kind of relevant. Now, we've gone over the Eat the Bugs, we've gone over my take on why this could be extremely relevant moving forward, especially like leading into 2024. It may not be, maybe there's a slight delay on the fundamentals, but I have no expectations. Maybe it just stays as it is and you're just farming away the INC token, who knows, and staking and running a validator and supporting the network and watching your PLSX get more scarce. Who knows? Finally found it. Oh my god, I was trying to get rid of the background music. Sorry about that. Now, continuing on, where was I? Here, so I'll play I've covered the stuff the other day, the evil forces acting upon, and then some other people pointed it out. I think I wrote some notes in a very in a different way, and it made a lot of sense. Basically the growing pains, the popularity contest, the tech is perfect, and the hopefully I can be one of the brothers of abundance, because not really in it for the popularity or the is it the one? Free spirit, strong community rising. Oh, that's right. Community, some teething, growing pains. That's the one. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. Now, pulling back slightly from that, you may think this is conspiracy realm, but I remember coming across this a while ago, and luckily enough, Twitter's back sort of a little bit more freer. And if I've got it here loaded, I won't put a link to this particular website, but if you go out on maybe DuckDuckGo, you might be able to find it. But yeah, let's have a look. YouTube.
Winter sun. If you don't get sun, that's why you get most of the viral infections. It's the highest quality, the two types of vitamin.
YouTube's gonna hate this. They won't hate this though. Now,
the stated mission of modern science is to dominate
very
and control
interesting
nature.
Stuff.
It was born of the philosophies of Francis Bacon,
I'll let this
who
play for a
suggested
bit.
we could learn to command nature in action, and of René Descartes, who wrote that mankind could become the masters and possessors of nature. This was science flipped on its head, because the previous scientific philosophy saw nature as a perfect creation of God, to be observed and understood. Take, for instance, water. Without water, we would not exist. And so the true value is in understanding the nature of water, so that we can flow with it, not control it. For over 20 years, Japanese scientist Dr. Masaru Emoto studied the groundbreaking science of how the molecular structure in water transforms when exposed to human words, thoughts, and sounds. Dr. Emoto would simply label a sample of water with different written words, such as love and gratitude or I hate you. He would then freeze the water samples and capture them as they crystallized with high-speed microscopic photography. The results were astonishing. The crystals formed from water exposed to the words love and gratitude were clear, attractive, and symmetrical. And the crystals formed from I hate you were distorted, asymmetrical, and opaque. Over and over again, water samples exposed to positive intention formed the hexagonal snowflake-like patterns indicative of structured water found in nature. And samples exposed to negative intention would lose its structure and mutate, which was also found to be true with samples of polluted water. Decades of repeated experiments have clearly shown that water is transformed when exposed to human word, thought, and sound. Dr. Emoto theorized that this is because water has consciousness. Russian studies have shown that water is imprinted by the energy of its environment, and it retains memory from everything it comes in contact with, even when separated. During the discovery of the genome, Dr. Bruce Lipton was studying cellular behavior at Stanford University and discovered that our genes switch on or off based on their environment. Human beings are made of about 50 trillion cells, and each cell is its own little creature that eats, digests, reproduces, and forms communities. Each individual cell is constantly reading the quality of its environment through its outer membrane skin. This includes stressful emotions sensed via chemicals in the bloodstream. And when we are stressed, negative, or fearful, then our cells will switch into their own version of fight or flight mode. They will stop the process of self-healing and begin the process of self-defense. And conversely, when we are feeling positive emotions, our cells will be switched into self-healing and the body will thrive. Dr. Lipton's discoveries were ignored by modern science, who opted for drugs and surgery over love and happiness. This began the field of epigenetics and answered the question of nature versus nurture. Experiments have shown that a living creature will thrive on a genetic level when nurtured. Malignant tumor cells have been reversed, and many people claim to have cured themselves of all sorts of disease, including cancer, by shifting and maintaining their mental attitude into a positive one. Official science will predictably call this spontaneous remission, but it is well documented. The cell protects itself by its membrane, which has a coating of negatively charged sugar crystals in a suspension of water. Most people think of water as being very special because of its ease of existence in 3 different states: liquid, ice, and vapor. But the water in our body is not in any of these states. The water that makes up our cells is in the gel state. Science is now recognizing a 4th state of water, known as the gel state or structured water. This 4th state is an electropolar state, whereas some of the water becomes a negatively charged gel, and the rest, known as bulk water, maintains a positive charge and remains more like a liquid. This electropropulsion creates movement and kinetic energy. This is how the blood is moved throughout our body. The latest evidence shows that the blood is pumping the heart, not the other way around. And it's the gel state water that propels the blood. To thrive, this natural propulsion system requires a connection to the earth, sunlight, positive human connection, and peace of mind. Your body
Maybe some 5555 steaks too.
is made up of over 50 trillion cells, and each one's health is dependent upon your own. Our happiness, or lack thereof, not only affects our health, it affects the health of everyone who enters our environment. So if you'd like to make the world a better place, then learn how to be happy. Greg Reese reporting.
But yeah, so we have to learn how to be happy, people. I just thought that was an interesting article I came across. For the longest time, I heard about this, and this was like years and years ago. Like I said in the previous stream, I used to, cover some pretty research, some pretty interesting stuff. I actually came across this many years ago, probably pushing on 9 years ago now, maybe 10, could be more. And like I said, I didn't know if it was real or not. And some of the other research has come out, some of it survived. That particular YouTube video about water, it's actually on a channel called Gaia. It's very like extraterrestrial UFO paranormal type of stream service, but they actually had the original documentary, which was fascinating because that used to be on YouTube. It wasn't anymore. Now straying off a bit from Christmas theme, but I like how it's in the shape of a hex. You know, the things that are positive, and the whole some documentaries about 369 as well. But moving on, again, important to
No longer being served.
listen to this.
4
I
things
reckon.
to always walk away from. 1. Walk away from conversations that involve hate and gossip. 2. Walk away from unnecessary drama. 3. Walk away from people who put you down. 4. Walk away from table if respect is no longer being served.
Interesting to understand maybe how we could be affecting each other. We could be affecting those around us, and how it's important to be. I don't know. Sometimes if you're like at Christmas, and it kind of sucks sometimes because you have family issues or whatnot. Sometimes it's good though, and like I said, the positivity that is around the HEXican community is something I've never experienced. Other communities basically non-existent. Like unless I'm not looking hard enough, but maybe there's like another founder that might come out and say a Christmas stream, maybe, but every other crypto founder, every other crypto, I'm referring to the Cardano guy, because recently he's been streaming, but unless he comes out and does a Christmas stream, like who else is streaming? No one who in the founding space who has previously done a Christmas stream. I can think of one person. It may, be in the Hexican ecosphere, and I really think the positivity around it, I guess it is good to sort of try and maintain that positivity within certain ecospheres. So whether or not they're shelling shit coins or whatever, if they come back to Hex, if they come back. But like I said, I've got a New Year's resolution that is to not FUD myself out of my own bags, which I almost was doing at one stage, literally yesterday. And I've come full circle and started, I reckon 5 for maybe one or two chain, or on one on each chain. That's a good New Year's resolution in my opinion. I won't say how much, obviously, because, no one needs to know that. Dude. I'll have to put you in timeout again, man, if you ask again, Mystery Man. Merry Christmas, though. Merry Christmas. Hopefully you got your copy on Pulse Chain. Is Gary on Pulse Chain? If it is, then maybe I'll look at it. I don't know. Because, like I said, positivity. I don't want you or me to have the weird-looking cell structures, You too, man. Oh. Merry Christmas. Now, have you seen this, Mystery Man? You might like this. Hang on, let's have a look.
Richard was very clear from sort of throughout that this needs to be a process that gives everyone a chance to capture value, so that there's not this you're first to hear about it effect, where then you kind of have runaway gains over everybody else. Richard,
because I like that, because I think a lot of the other tokens, like maybe like this other one you're mentioning, is there a possibility that it's like a one cycle wonder? It just sort of pumps and then maybe dumps, or maybe maintains and then drops off and then never ever recovers again, or has no backing. It doesn't tend to be one of the longer lasting ones. Now, what I mean by longer lasting ones, I'm not even sure, but let's have a look at, I know I shouldn't use CoinMarketCap, but I'll pull up CoinMarketCap and I'll pull up Crypto Bubbles. Is it Crypto Bubbles? Excuse me. Because you're right, I need to keep crypto orientated to be relevant. I can stray somewhat into realms of the unknown. Yeah, maybe hard to follow. Now, Merry Christmas crypto by the looks of it, because what the hell? For some reason, I pulled up two exact identical websites, and one of them has the Christmas hats and one of them doesn't. I'm not even kidding. Look, can you guys see that scramble shit? What the fuck? Who's in my system, bro? Now, that's hilarious. But we have, if I can find my favorite, the day, the hour, maybe, most likely the week. No, ooh. Oh, what's going on? Anyway, that is and I can't see Hex, Pulse Chain, or Pulse. Oh, there we go. There's Hex. Pulse X. Hex, Pulse Chain. Okay. Well, it's got some Christmas hats, so that's a start. Now, CoinMarketCap is Ethereum, and it's probably worth looking at gas fees as well. Oh my god, these gas fees. Bastards. Gwei is actually not too bad. So, I'm hoping Ethereum and the devs and their founder get together and over time, sort of try and fix their issues they've got over there with their gas, because I don't like to think that Ethereum becomes a ghost chain, lol, and just with hugely insane fees. Because why have this like asset that's hugely appreciated, and then you just can't use it? So it then becomes like a rock token, so no one uses it. It's like, but what about all the smart contracts running on it? Don't you want to be able to use it? Like, that seems kind of doesn't it defeat the purpose? Like, I thought it was supposed to have, a use case, and if the use case is smart contracts and cheap-ish gas to be able to actually run the smart contracts on, why would the devs allow that to take place on Ethereum? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I like to think, hopefully, maybe they, in a few years, maybe some tech's rolled out. I don't know what they're working on, and a 5555 will not actually just get murdered by the gas fees. Because I think I'm gonna do it, and I'm just gonna go, okay, let's see what happens. I'm in two minds though. Like, I would like to pull what I can get after the gas fees, after ending a longish stake from inception, like with the BPD stuff on it, and then bridging it over. But then you have to get gas for that as well, which is the stake will, the copy will be more than enough to cover for all this, basically. So, and then you bridge it across and then bring it over into Pulse Chain, then you'll be able to get more T shares. But I don't like the idea of leaving Ethereum Hex to die. Not so much to die, but if I can't see Ethereum just being like, oh fuck it, we'll just let it run and have like $1,000 gold. Like, who's going to be using that unless you've got like a big old bag, which it could be, but it doesn't seem to be logical. It's like, welcome to a crypto. Have you got minimum of like $100 entry to play? It's like, I'm not sure that's a really good idea. But I could be wrong. Like, that's positive. It's a positive for Pulse Chain, because then they'll be like, oh well, Pulse Chain's got cheap fees. But if you haven't got access to the direct on ramp, like something like Coast, and you can't you have to spend some Ethereum to bridge over your whatever asset you're doing. It could be sort of it could be a small barrier to entry if you're very, very new to crypto. If you're already in this space, you're probably like, who cares? It's in top. What's happening? Thank you for coming again. Just covering the Ethereum, and it's I don't know, like, honestly, I like to think that Ethereum fixes their shit, and the 5555 stakes actually, even if they're smallish, you can still do it profitably. But it's a big gamble, because it's like, you either do that or you pull it from ETH, bridge it out, put over onto Pulse Chain, do whatever you want over on Pulse Chain with cheap fees, push it out 55555, and then hope and pray that you, after that X amount of days, 15 years, you can the gas isn't insane. But then it's like, if you do that and Ethereum price is through the roof, who cares if you've got Ethereum? If you do that and Pulse Chain price is through the roof, and the assumption is you have a little bit of Pulse Chain, if you're doing that, then will you really care? I don't know. That's just something I thought of just then. Now, the next thing, so I covered the water. I'll play this for you, Tintop, as well, if you didn't hear this before. This is what I think we all need to hear.
4 things to always walk away from. 1. Walk away from conversations that involve hate and gossip. 2. Walk away from unnecessary drama. 3. Walk away from people who put you down. 4. Walk away from table if respect is no longer being served.
So that's how I started. I then covered this particular documentary, whether or not you believe it, pointing out the shape of positive words and what effect that could have on us all, and what it does have on water based on some studies that are out there. And funnily enough, it's cropping its head back up after about, well, that's December 22nd, 2023, and I first came across this particular study back in like 2012, so close to 9 years ago, on YouTube. But then for some reason it became extremely hard to find this particular article. YouTube video, like it's something changed in how they like look up their videos, and it became harder to find, and then I was able to find it later on through a different streaming service, which is like heavily weighted towards like the extraterrestrial almost, things like that, things that may not be in the mainstream or taught in the mainstream. I covered this basically like I'm like in no official manner regarding to anything. I don't support any political party, but when this, I noticed this happens to be from a politician that's like pointing out that maybe there's a movement towards eating bugs. So I kind of don't like that. I don't care if you're vegan, vegetarian, or whatever, but I prefer to eat meat myself. Just I don't hear like vegans telling me I should eat bugs, so I don't want like a new diet come out. So it'd be like the pro insect protein movement. No thanks. Then I covered this basically.
Very clear from sort of throughout that this needs to be a process that gives everyone a chance to capture value, so that there's not this you're first to hear about it effect, where then you kind of have
life changing favors there. Yeah, well, that's why I'm wondering, like, so with this here,
runaway gains over everybody else. Richard was very clear from sort of throughout that this needs to be a process that gives everyone a chance to capture value, so that there's not this you're first to hear about it effect, where then you kind of have runaway gains over everybody else.
Like, was the forethought with pulse chain in mind? Because the way I interpret that is, people maybe got here early. They heard about, you guys probably remember the big payday, and then big payday kicked in. And some people, like I was like, I'm going to get X amount, something like 1 million tokens, and go, all right, if this thing goes to $1, I'll be laughing, I'll be set. And I thought, well, I'll just do like a quick flip. I will. This thing could run. I have no idea. Based on what I'm seeing, though, you can like stake it out. But I'm like, well, if you get this thing called the big payday, and you're going to get like 2.6x in one day, I was assuming that I didn't understand how the other factors would affect the amount of the payout. And we all know the story that basically it was less than what we anticipated. It ended up being like 0.3 from memory, of like 30%, which is still amazing in one day, but it wasn't as much as we all thought. But if you had have staked out, and I remember I emergency end staked and then pushed out past big payday because someone in the chat said it, and that was a very good move, because I realized then what the big payday was, and it was able to lock in the big payday bonus. And by the end of the 5 stakes that I have seen, they're going to, vastly outperform a lot of shit, I think. And it depends on the price though. So that's what I was thinking initially. But then the whole, like you said, the doubling came back. And I'm not sure, man. I don't think so. Early adopters, T-shares. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if it's also now after the fork, going back to that, after the fork, if you've got these like 5 stakes, and then if you come in now, like for instance, the price has pulled back a little bit, but maybe it wasn't including the insane sacrifice that happened to pump the price up 10,000x. I'm not sure. Maybe as we've seen, it's just sort of slowly crept up, and so has the price. And so if it wasn't for the sacrifice, maybe this price right now would be, wouldn't have seen that huge spike up and then come back down. Like, I don't know. Which would mean that if you were like entering in now, there's still meat on the bone. And if you're still putting out 5, it's going to be interesting, because if you go back and look at, like, you guys already know this, is it here? I had this one. Will it load? Will it load? Like, you guys saw the stakes, right? There's a big cluster coming up, and yeah, that's 100%. Like, well, like for Hexicans that have seen it play out, and have been paying attention and not going for that, you know, like that pretty big payday flip or whatever, or creating some other vampire token or whatever else is going on, which is fair enough because maybe they do have good intentions or maybe they got evil intentions, maybe they're somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I was like, I've been looking at hex.vision, so actually I'll pull that up. So go hex.vision. Also, Merry Christmas, Tintop. And said Merry Christmas to Dart. And once this loads, but yeah, so like we know this already. Although I personally forgot about this particular app, hex.win, the ability to look up expiring stakes on Pulse Chain, which is good. There's also hexfire.io. He covers this. Crispy Man covers it extensively. Couple of others as well. Where is it? Bit more. Once it loads. Not the wall of shame, lol. But yeah, while I look on that on the other side. So we can see here the big increase is coming with the T shares, but also the amount of stake nuke stakes. Is that interesting? Yeah, so make sure I'm reading this correctly. Nuke stakes. Maybe they've expired. Late stakes. Okay, so they've been pushed out. Stakes in grace, so they're like prevented, so they've got that 14-day period, and you know, after that 14-day they start copping the penalties, which leads the bleed out for whatever reason. Maybe they are maybe they're not so profitable, or maybe people have forgotten about it. Everybody. Where was it? Man, I always discover that's the one. I always forget what tab I have to use on Hex.vision to get to the this ladder that we all know and love. It's here. Oh no, hang on, that's the different one. Stakes, that's the one. But yeah, so there's a big, huge cluster, right? And then it appears to be, you know, all of 2024. Maybe people are assuming there's going to be insane price movement, so maybe there's going to be some sell pressure here, more Hex being minted, etc., etc. Then it starts just dropping off. Like it, maybe 2030 there's a bit of action. There's a few here, 2036, but there's like huge periods, there's huge gaps where I'm not sure if there's a tool that people can create to find those gaps like you can on Hex.vision. That's the way I was actually doing it initially. Like I wasn't just throwing blind darts. I was going through and looking if there was like not much stakes coming out on that particular day, or stakes ending, and I found like the lowest days, like the actual low points. So I'm not sure whether or not that's going to play out, but I think like you guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah, bugs. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was only kidding. Like, I don't care. Whatever. I just don't. I don't want to be eating bugs, though, man. like I'm serious. I'm like, I don't know if people get told they can't eat meat anymore and they have to eat bugs or something, maybe that'll cause them to protest in the street for freedom to eat or some shit. I don't know. Now, was it here? Yeah. Yeah, so we can see, okay, this is a good comparison. I haven't actually done this before. This one, oh great, now I dropped out. Alright, so it's probably not gonna look the best though. Interesting. It's basically a mirror image from what I can see. Does appear to be 2031 though. Could just be the shape of the lines because of the zoom effect. You can see, like, you know, Ethereum versus Pulse Chain. Little post fee one. There's more people staked on post chain. Like I said, I'm in two minds between pulling out Ethereum Hex, doing whatever, maybe bridging that over, or maybe turning it to a stable, maybe sending it across and then purchasing post chain, and then or something like that, and then buying maybe Hex on post chain because it's just cheaper to transact. It'll be cheaper to end the stake. But like I said, do I really want to abandon EHEX? Because if you do that and Ethereum does figure out some way to fix their GUI issues, which may or may not be an issue, it'd be interesting to be the last one standing in Ethereum and getting all the yield, because that would be pretty decent. But yeah, it looks very similar to, if you ask me. There's a couple of peaks here that don't exist over here. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm honestly wondering how it's all going to play out. Like, will we see some more laddering over on post chain and less laddering on EHEX? I'm not sure. I'm actually thinking about staying on Ethereum, and just like chucking out some 5555s just for lows, and not selling much at all, and just waiting for some insane movement, because I think it's going to come. But depends a lot whether I'll see it. May not. I'm also going to treat it like a don't risk more than you can afford to lose. Lose it all? Maybe. Unlikely, but maybe make some mad gains if you held Bitcoin from inception to now. If you had the ability to do so. Something like a locking mechanism. Who knows? But yeah. And I agree, we're going to be seeing B shares. It's going to be crazy to see that, because people will go back. They might not have the ability to remember this, but they'll be like, no way those guys were like talking about T shares, and they'll just, you could buy a T shares for how much? And no way Ethereum was that price, and no way Pulse Chain was that price in 2024. I think maybe could be a thing. Yeah, but that's about it with the crypto. In terms of what my thoughts are on it, and not that it matters, but I think more people are going to be going into, if they hear about it, like, and they understand what Hex can do on Pulse Chain with cheaper fees, like why it was kind of designed, in my opinion, to be able to like save us all like from the stakes, because we basically got the copy for free. We literally got a free copy. It's now actually worth more. You can literally, we can do whatever we want, and Hex is above a penny. Hex is above 1 cent. INC is just doing its thing, so maybe just, I don't know. It's kind of cool though, and yeah, I have good feelings about it. But the where was I going next? Yeah, so back to the bug thing and the whole CBDC and all that wonderful stuff. This is what this is Australia based. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, but if could it be not? It's people will say, oh, it's a design. It's not a flaw, because they could use the same sort of tactics that were once forged, I guess, by HEXicans, I would say, through their basic copying or mimicking of the founder. It says, like, if it says, sorry, I mean, like, three different minds here. Basically, I think you are right, because if Ethereum doesn't fix its fees, like, all the smart contracts will just be bust, and it's like, oh, I want to mint some Hedron. No, can't do it, too expensive. Well, maybe you can, but it's, for someone new with a stake without any bonuses on it, they're like, what? I can't invest even like $1,000 to. I need $1,000 to transact on this chain. That'll kind of suck for some people, because that'll limit them out. But yeah. But then, like, if that's the case, that would indicate also that the price of Ethereum will be through the roof. So maybe people buy it through, like, centralized exchanges or something, or maybe they get some through DEXs. But to swap through a DEX, like $1,000, it's like, I want to buy $10,000 worth of ETH, but 10% of it's going to be in fees. That'll kind of suck. But if if they do it now and they have the ability to sit on it and hold it, yeah. That's why I wonder, like, if I'm curious, like, people building, why aren't they building on Pulse Chain? Like, knowing that these fees are going to continue to go up and to the right, in my opinion, unless everyone abandons, well, not abandons ETH, but everyone just chills off on ETH and goes over the builds where it's more, you know, I don't know, maybe that's whether that push for L2s, because it's giving people options to be able to, you know, ease the load on L1. But like, I remember, man, that CryptoKitties like crushed E3 so bad, like back in 2017, 17. It was like so cheap. It was like 1 cent to transact. It was good. You guys probably remember from 2019, and then the CryptoKitties thing came along, and that put like strain or load on the fucking system, like quote unquote system. My terminology is probably wrong, but it increased the fees. It's like, what's going on? Anyway, so hopefully that doesn't take place on Pulse Chain. But I guess, to be fair, also all the building, I have no idea what's going on Pulse Chain. But there's a lot of other stuff going on, and maybe it's like stress testing the network, and it seems to be doing fine, because I haven't done a transaction for a while, but it's still so much cheaper than Ethereum. So that's the thing. Is like, do you want your asset to go up, you know, 10x or maybe 10x? 10x would be a big move for Ethereum. But then also, do you want to have unusable fees and basically it defeats its use case? Or do you want lower fees, like almost none? And it's like, okay, it's not as cheap as it on the testnet was, like you know, a few pulse per transaction or whatever. But that's like it's a few hundred or whatever. But you can buy how much, and it'll keep you going for how long, you know. And if it does, the price does appreciate, and the price can stay low, that will be a very good use case to present to everyone. It would be really good to point out to everyone, hey, you know, Pulse Chain is super cheap. It's the same shit as Ethereum, but just cheaper fees. Your shit will work over here. If you want, you can open and have a look at. Anyway, you guys know the spiel. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just can't see Ethereum functioning. It'll be like those other like L1s that just have shit built but have nothing on it. It's like, oh, we're going to be the revolution. It's like, yeah, I don't use it. Other people might. I don't know. The most people would be using it for, in my opinion, is to try and chase yield. And I was going through the other day, and I'm like, this shit. I want, you know, how can I get the best yield? And I was looking at different wallets, different chains, different dexes and shit like that. And I'm like, well, some of them are even centralized exchanges. And I'm like, I'm not putting my shit on a centralized exchange. I'm not going on these other chains and doing all this bullshit to bridge here and there and everywhere, and then to get less yield than Hex will provide me, or to perform crappier than providing even LP on some pairs on something like PulseX. And there's probably some some good performance on other tech dexes within the Pulse Chain system. It's literally like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna ladder out, because that is honestly, it might sound silly, but it's with you when you're looking for yield, and now you have an option to do so with very cheap fees if you're already in the system, luckily enough to be in the system. You can bypass some of the gas fees, and yeah, anyway. And I'm like, well, it's solved the problem for me, you know. It's literally solved the problem. Like, I don't need to look around for other shit. I was very close to opening up some other wallets, and you know, I'm not even sure if it's like staking, getting yield, but it was not as good as Hex was. But for some reason, people, I think the research that they do, they go online, they Google it, maybe they look at YouTube, maybe they don't, maybe they look at review sites, maybe they don't. They come across maybe, well, like they go here, you know, oh, you know, and they see someone saying, oh, you know, XYZ token, you get APY X of this or of this or this, you know, and then they go, oh, okay, sick, but they don't, because I guess Hex is not in their face, Pulse Chain isn't in their face. they're not, or maybe they don't trust it. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe they get a bad interaction with people on Hex Twitter. I don't think they do though, HEXX, but I don't know, because like I said, if you're really you're really interested in this space, you go through and test everything and have a look at everything, and then if you happen to find something that works and you happen to find something that provides decent APY, then maybe you put a little bit more in, if you wanted to. Like, you're not just going to put your whole stack in. But like I said in another stream also, like, I don't think we're going to be getting hugely insanely wealthy individuals, because like I said, they would have huge amounts of paperwork to go through to get their money released. I don't think they're just like going to be like, oh, you're going to invest in this. But there's a lot of money that's been made in crypto, and in a bull market, like, everyone's aware that people are going to be more cashed up and they're going to be looking to spend. And as we saw with the last bull cycle, the sacrifice craze, people had money to burn and they literally burnt it. Well, actually, not sure what you call sacrifice now, but yeah. So it's going to be interesting this next bull run. I know, right? No, it's crazy. Maybe that's what they mean by the meat on the bone, hey, like the T-shares. It's going to get to the point where it's very, very hard to get a T-share, and there'll be high B shares, and then people with those long stakes, when they end, it's going to be like the Hedron, when the 10x bonus ends, they go back into the same, they go down to the same category as everyone else in the pool. And then to get more B shares, or maybe T shares, it's going to be a battle to get more X. At which point in time, maybe they exit the system and just sell, and make, because they've made mad profits. But then how much money, in theory, does someone need? I mean, someone would probably sell for infinitely if they had the option. But like, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to look back on these streams and be like, that was me. And that was us. All right. Now, I'll go into some of the, I don't know. See my playlist, I got the ASMR shit, trying to like go to bed. Play like 3 of them over, it sounds like some witch is doing some spells or something. It's trippy as. Now, this here, the National Digital ID could be here by 2024. This was back in October 12, so a few months ago, they're talking about this. Here in Australia, just imagine, the wonderful outcomes that could come about from this. Again, this is why, where was it here? Again, this, like I said, I'm not politically aligned. I just think there should be less government. Like, free market could do its thing. Capitalism is better than communism or socialism, in my opinion. Basically, it says here, the Digital Identity Bill got rolled out December 6th, was introduced, but again, it doesn't mean it's finalized. It says digital ID. It says, according to this individual, it might be the most terrifying piece of legislation. So this is, I'm not sure if this is going to happen in the US, but there's some other interesting stuff that's happening in the US, because in relation to being able to like track and trace people, and it's moving toward some sort of Orwellian nightmare, and it's getting beyond a joke now. And ever since the mandates, it became more obvious to myself that it actually could happen, and it's kind of disturbing. But to the majority of other people, they're probably quite fine in how their life's going, and so they haven't got time to worry about this. I really shouldn't be worried about this. You guys probably don't need to be worried about this too much until it affects you, which I hope doesn't come to fruition, because hopefully people will push back. Basically, here in Australia, we have the ability to be able to lodge our taxes online. We have our medical records. You have the ability to lodge them online, keep them online, share them between, if you see different doctors. Our healthcare system it's pretty good here. But if we have for instance, a digital record of ourselves, we had to opt out, and I chose literally to opt out, but almost like 99.9% of people didn't care. They thought it was convenient, so they kept all their data on this user database. Now, again, they pointed out this could be an issue if it ever gets compromised. You don't know who's got access to it technically. But now it's like a digital ID. Now, the digital ID, I actually possibly think unknowingly I signed up for it, because we actually have here the equivalent. What would it be in the other countries? I'm not sure. Basically, when you don't work and you get payments and things like that. The old age pension, I guess people can relate to a system that manages an old age pension payment system, is digital ID. Now, you have this digital ID, and it's basically your identity. It gives you the ability to log into your government account. And then that gives you the ability to access different services all online. You know, previously you would have to fill out forms or wait in call center phone line. But now it's like, it's moving towards online ID. So basically, this is what has been rolled out already. I may have unknowingly already done it, but because you need it to be able to access these certain functions. So if you try and opt out of it, it's actually borderline impossible unless you're filling out all your forms. Like you know where to find the forms, and you physically go into a location, a government building, and like fill out the forms, whether that be whatever it is, XYZ. And again, not many people are doing that because everything's easy to do it on your phone now. So this is how the digital ID came to be. I'm not sure what it's saying here. It says it's not compulsory, because to my knowledge, I think I've already actually signed up for it. And I will be concerned now because I'm not sure what's coming next. I think it gave you the ability as well for the when they did have the quote unquote passports or proof of your vaccination, certain vaccination statuses. It did have also the ability to, like use your biometrics, like thumbprint, to sign in, like on your phone, hooked up through the app. So people may have already, I didn't do that, but people may have already done this, and that means their biometrics is already owned by, they have access to certain biometrics. Also, when I signed up, it wasn't exactly mandatory. It wasn't compulsory, but without this voice recognition system, you couldn't actually use the system. And it's kind of laughable because when they say it's not going to be forced upon you, but if you haven't got it, you can't use it, it really makes you wonder, like I said, why this push and who's actually behind this. I mean, I'm not against technology, but Merry Christmas, Finbear. I'm not against technology at all, but it's saying they're labeling the digital ID as voluntary. It's the most opposite thing of voluntary. It's like saying it's literally like saying if you have a car that's powered by like petrol, gas, diesel, or even an electric car, it's like saying recharging your electric vehicle is voluntary, and or purchasing fuel for your car is voluntary. It's like, it's kind of not voluntary because without it doesn't function. So I'm interested to see what it is, how it's going to increase, because they did have, like I said, they rolled out some two-factor authentication, which is good. It stopped some of the scams. But like I said, I might have already unknowingly signed up to this digital ID, because without it, you can't access your required services that you're trying to access. Now, I don't like mainly it's the tax ones that I deal with, to be able to lodge it online electronically. But what if in the future we talk about this dystopian horror film whereby they tell you that without this certain vaccination, or without this certain I don't know, like whatever they come up with, maybe this is how a government bank account is issued of some sort. This is how it's like, oh, you don't have, I don't know how it'll roll out, but imagine bank accounts being hooked up to a digital ID. It's like, okay, you have a bank account with like whatever bank you have a bank account with, if you're able to have it, you know, if you've been a good citizen for today. And then but to get one, you have to have your digital ID. And technically it's already like that, because you have to have, you know, forms of identification. Without the identification, you can't open a bank account, because that's like the KYC, AML, a few other things that exist. So when we all like, is it worth worrying about this sort of stuff? I think it's good to know where we can push back, but it's becoming extremely hard to be able to, you know, like legally and lawfully, peacefully and politically push back to things we don't even know exist. It's kind of frustrating, but I won't get too bogged down with all of that, because there's only so much one man can do. But if, for instance, a lot of people are aware of this and they sort of point out that we like using cash or we like crypto, you know, maybe just it's enough to turn the tides. But the way I see it, everything's going to digital ID, and that is going to be very useful, very secure, very good for tracking and tracing people. A lot of cameras and things like that, and license plates readers, and, you know, keeps you nice and safe. If anything goes wrong, you know what happened, which is fine. But as long as it's not used as as long as it's used as a shield to protect people, not as a sword to slay people, because they didn't, you know, they dared to buy more meat than they were allowed in their quota. And I'm not sure how they would roll that out. Or, for instance, you know, they don't like their particular treatment that is now a requirement to exist on such a platform, which is not too far away. But whether or not they're going to roll that out is a whole nother, it's concerning, I would say. But yeah, it's good that we can push back if we know about it. If we don't, you know, then we're just sort of stuck. But yeah, they basically they forewarn us all, this is happening. No one really pays attention or has time to understand it. It then says here, like, if the bill is passed, that moves the digital ID to a nationally regulated system accessible by the public and private sectors, regulated by the ACCC to ensure safer protections. The Australian Government ID System, AGDIS. Imagine, what's that in my head? Imagine, thank you for tuning in. Merry Christmas. And imagine if, for instance, you know, this gets rolled out, this becomes the bill is passed, like, and say this happens in the country that you live in, and next thing, a part of this digital ID that, you know, is perfectly fine to, you know, keep people safe. But then what if the government then turns the screws slightly and tightens everything and says, well, we've decided, you know, with this system, if we detect that you're spending too much on cryptocurrency, then, you know, it's bad. And because it's bad, we think it's bad, we're gonna tell you that it's bad, and we're gonna limit your ability to spend your own money. That may not even be through a central bank digital currency. It might be through a turning off the faucet. Like, we see some banks here in Australia, they're like, you can only spend so much, send it out to certain exchanges, and you can only send out so much because we're worried that you'll be scammed. It's like, hang on. Why are you telling me what I can spend my money on? It's like, okay, you might save one person who's actually getting scammed, but what about the other, like, 99? Well, what about the other people whose freedoms you've just taken away? It's like you don't care about that. And I'm saying that as if I was talking to the government, I guess, or people rolling this out. It's like, you don't really understand. I don't think they really understand what it is they're doing. I don't think they're evil. I don't think they're all evil. I don't think, like, the government's evil, all got out to get us. I think they honestly are told the positives of a system, and then they go with it, they vote it in, and the next thing it turns out, oh crap, we stuffed up because we forgot about this loophole, or there was an attack vector here, or it turns out that this ID system is then hooked up to other ID systems around the world, and the whole time, like, the NSA has been watching us, and now they know all our shit. You know, like, it's just shit like that. You know, it's like, sounds like a movie, but it could happen. Can you imagine the coal? That reminds you of TF2. You get some coal in your stocking. What else does it remind me? I actually, I have a sister, and I actually gave her a lump of coal one year. That was low. What else? Imagine your, anyway, I won't go there. It's just like conspiracy on conspiracy on conspiracy, and then it gets to the point where, I hope none of it comes true, and I hope, this is just, it's just imaginable horribles that will never come to fruition. But I have an honest concern about this. People are saying question of security, but yeah, this is like the consultation. Like, it was ended. Next final version. Again, I never heard about this. I never got to reply to this. I never voted for this. But most likely, what's going to happen here in Australia, I'll wake up one day and I'll turn on the news and they'll say, "Oh, we've got a new digital identity bill," and which is fine. It's like, okay, to access your government, to lodge your tax digitally, you need this, which is fine. But then one day they might be like, "Oh, okay, part of this digital ID is we need your retina, we need your biometrics and your vaccination status." And then imagine if for some reason one of those three you refuse to provide. For some reason, maybe you get put on a weird list. Maybe other governments watch you, maybe your own government watches you, or maybe you can no longer use that service, and then it makes your life harder. That's just one little way it could play out. I mean, it might not play out like that. It might just be like, okay, fine, this person, it's like voluntary, as in you don't need to provide your biometrics. You can use just like a password, two-factor authentication, which is fine, Like I said, I don't think they're there to completely create a dystopian nightmare for us, but you hear about, you see a lot of stuff going on. I just wonder why, we see the Epstein list coming out pretty soon, although most people have the flight logs, which kind of indicates some stuff. But with the, with that coming out, it wouldn't surprise me. It's like, well, we've tied your digital identity to your internet identity, and we don't like VPNs anymore. We like IPs, and we've gone to your service provider. When you've been a naughty boy, you've looked at naughty things on the internet. Like UK tried to have people send them pictures of selfies if they wanted to access certain websites. I'm like, know about that. Yeah, oh man. Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. But anyway, all right, back to the positive. Positive news is we're gonna be rich. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna be rich. But yeah, Australia lays out priorities for government ID, including password logins, which is fine. Like I said, how's it going to be used? Is it going to be a way? It's like, oh, if you haven't, how they're going to phase out cash? Could this be used? Could this be used to phase out cash? Can they 100% guarantee me this is not going to be used to phase out cash? Now I sound like a paranoid person, like, oh, the internet's just here to track and trace us all. It's like, hang on, maybe it is. Crypto's here just to track and trace us all. No, I'm kidding, but it's pretty easy to do if you reveal yourself, and especially with the sanctions that get rolled out against smart contract, which is pretty messed up, if you ask me, in some jurisdictions. But then, what if? Anyway, I'll go there. Yeah. So digital ID, how citizens interact with businesses online. Oh, okay. So there's an aspect I didn't think of. What if you need your digital ID to interact with businesses online? If you haven't got your digital ID, then you can't purchase, like from Amazon, for example. That would kind of suck if I was like, no, I don't want this. It's like, oh, you can't use Amazon. I'd be like, but I want to buy some shit. And then you'd have groups of people that were like, I don't want anything to do with this system. I'm moving out, being self-sufficient, getting my own land, being, and they would be like the crazy ones. It's like, yeah, well then maybe they're not the crazy ones. Maybe this is the craziness that we need to avoid. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. A little bit more of this, and then expand service, digital ID. See, banks already got some of the stuff. There was that book, Tragedy and Hope. Man, you got to read that. They literally had, what was it? It was like they had tech that they didn't want to release to other people, so they put it into the banks the computers so no one would access it in a friendly bank. And I was like, dude, that's insane. That's some of the tech. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool. But yeah, I don't know why I thought of that. What else? Crypto related. Yeah, crypto related. What do we got? Like I said, my New Year's resolution, recapping, is a 555 on every chain. Well, 2 Pulse chain and Ethereum. Because I think I've forgotten about the other chains. I probably shouldn't have. I need to remember to get my Hedron. I need to remember to get my Com, as long as it's feasible to do so, economically feasible to do so. And I am questioning whether or not to move Hex from Ethereum to Pulse chain. I'm starting to think I might just leave it on both, and hopefully Ethereum fixes their shit. It's a gamble either way. But as long as, at the moment, Pulse chain Hex is more expensive, hopefully Ethereum Hex gets pulled up towards Pulse chain instead of being 2-to-1. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that, as we've said in the chat, T-shares are the aim of the particular T-share game, which some people may not be playing. Maybe they're playing a different game. I don't know. I know other people are playing. But then again, maybe they made more money than me, so maybe you should listen to them. I don't know. In that, I'll wrap up in Merry Christmas to everyone, and yeah, Gwei is actually not too bad at the moment, but for stakes that were around since inception and you're ending them, I don't know what they're going to look like. Bonk, man. Fucking. This is what. So this is this is crypto in 2023. Let's have a look. All right, where where was Mystery Man? It'd be funny if that token appears. But so this is crypto in 2023. This is how far we've come. We've gone from my cycles that I remember. Bitcoin, Litecoin, I can't remember, Dash, Neo, what else? Maybe XRP. Maybe Monero. Then then Ethereum, but that was before Ethereum, and now it's those ones plus Ethereum, and then I can't remember. These other ones came out of nowhere. I didn't pay attention to. I think EOS was around. Doge. No. I missed the AVAX launch. I'm pretty sure I missed. What else? Man, none of them. Solana, I'm pretty sure I missed the launch of that. What do we got? ICP missed launch. Stats, never heard of. Cake. Binance Chain, I remember when it was BNB token. Is that still a thing? I don't even know. I remember that shit was $12. It was under double digits. USDC, the stable coins weren't even much of a thing, man. Bitcoin's done a 2x since last time. Well, yeah. Ethereum's done pretty good. I just don't understand how Hex and Pulse Chain are not near these top 10s. I mean, yeah, the gatekeeping, but just why the censorship? Why? How is DOT $9? Tron's 10. Chainlink, Matic. I missed Matic. Shib. Litecoin. Yeah, I remember DAI actually. I remember XDAI, man. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what happened to that. That was dirt cheap too. I don't even know how validators were running on that. Bitcoin Cash, I remember when that came out low. Well, I remember Uniswap. We all remember Uniswap. I can't believe this is crypto 2023. FTX token still is a thing, apparently. Bonk. BitTorrent, no. Zero Learning Classic EOS. Isn't it? Is it? No shit, I did not know that. Huh. See, that's how much I've been following shit. I want to look that up later. What's a Gnosis chain? Well, no, they did it. Wonder if there's any hex over there. I'll look at that later. I can't believe that. That's the top pepper. I can't believe this is the top 100. Like of all of them, yeah, like I don't know. I see little use cases. I mean, yeah, but then apparently like half of their treasury moved over to actual like fiat legacy shit. That's like, you know, yeah. It just, everything just goes up. Everything just pumps randomly, as far as I can tell. Like no real use case. Maybe other stuff that have like connected to centralized exchanges, but like some other L1s that have like little, like I'm probably shitting all over their devs, but like they have little development. Like I'm not going over to Solana and like seeing my Hex smart contract deployed on there. I'm not seeing it deployed on BNB. Maybe they got copies of USDC over there. I'm not even sure it's L1 Solana. Like I missed the whole AVAX thing. Doge is like infinite print. Polkadot's just got like, I don't know. I'm waiting for it like to hear a use case. Matic, I think that was, you get Hex on that. Chainlink has some interesting stuff about it. I don't fully understand the pricing, the actual like Chainlink. That's crazy, man. Like half of this shit. Monero, privacy, that's good. I like, you know, it's good. Ethereum Classic, low. I just don't like, yeah. Shit. Neo, that used to be something else. It was ants or some shit. There's another one, the gas of Neo. I gotta say, Ethereum of all these has the best use case because it allowed things like Hex to be deployed on it. It allowed decentralized exchanges to function, so wherever Uniswap is, all the other ERC20s that function on it. It's almost as if the other L1s are trying to copy it. Meanwhile, no one talks about Pulse Chain, cheaper fees. Maybe that's good when no one's talking about it. That's the time to accumulate it all. And then you'll see the insane pump, and the people will just be behind. Well, they'll be left behind, but then it'll pump, and then they'll buy near the all-time highs, and they'll be upset while they bought near the all-time high. And it's like, well, it's look at the price now. It's a pretty good buy. Again, I'm not talking to you guys in chat. I'm talking to like just, you know, randomly venting. All right, I'll wrap this one up, and Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I watched the Mr. Beast video before, and it made me want to go adopt a dog. So maybe if you get bored, go adopt a dog. Who knows? All right, free speech signing out. Peace all.